Hello and welcome to our video on the life and works of Michelangelo, one of the most celebrated artists in history. Michelangelo lived during the Renaissance period, and his works have had a profound impact on art and culture. Today, we'll explore his life, works, and legacy. Early life and artistic training. Michelangelo was born in Caprese, Italy, in 1475. He grew up in a family of modest means and showed an early interest in art. At the age of 13, he became an apprentice with painter Domenico Ghirlandaio in Florence, where he learned the techniques of painting and fresco. After several years, Michelangelo became interested in sculpture and began to study with Bertoldo di Giovanni, a student of the famous sculptor Donatello. He quickly showed a talent for sculpting and developed a unique style that blended classical ideals with a naturalistic approach. One of Michelangelo's early works was the Pieta, a sculpture of the Virgin Mary holding the body of Jesus after the crucifixion. Completed when he was just 24 years old, the Pieta is known for its emotional intensity and lifelike depiction of the human form. Another of Michelangelo's early works was the David, a towering statue of the biblical hero who famously defeated Goliath. Created when Michelangelo was in his early 20s, the David is widely regarded as one of the greatest sculptures of all time, with its dynamic pose and intricate details. Michelangelo's early works demonstrated his extraordinary talent and innovative approach to art, setting the stage for his later masterpieces in painting, sculpture, and architecture. Papal commissions and works in Rome. In 1496, Michelangelo moved to Rome to work on papal commissions for Pope Julius II. One of his most significant projects was the tomb of Pope Julius II, which was originally intended to be a grandiose monument featuring more than 40 sculptures. However, due to a lack of funds and changing priorities, the project was scaled back significantly. Despite the setbacks, Michelangelo completed several striking sculptures for the tomb, including the famous Moses. The sculpture shows Moses sitting with two horns on his head as a result of a mistranslation of the Hebrew word for radiance. The intense expression on Moses' face and the intricate details of his beard and robes make this sculpture one of Michelangelo's most striking works. Another of Michelangelo's most significant works in Rome was the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Pope Julius II commissioned Michelangelo to paint the chapel's ceiling with frescoes depicting scenes from the Book of Genesis and other biblical stories. Michelangelo spent for years working on the ceiling, often lying on his back on scaffolding to reach the high ceiling. The ceiling features numerous iconic scenes, including the creation of Adam, where God and Adam's fingers nearly touch, and the flood, which shows Noah and his family in the ark as the waters rise. The intricate details of the frescoes, including the lifelike depictions of the human form, make the ceiling one of the greatest masterpieces of Western art. Michelangelo's papal commissions in Rome solidified his reputation as one of the greatest artists of his time and helped to establish his legacy as a visionary painter, sculptor, and architect. Later works and political involvement. After completing his major works in Rome, Michelangelo returned to Florence, where he began to focus more on architecture and urban planning. In the 1530s, he designed the Piazza del Campidoglio, which is considered one of his greatest achievements in architecture. This design transformed the previously neglected public square into a harmonious and functional space, complete with a grand staircase, symmetrical buildings, and an equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius at the center. In addition to his architectural work, Michelangelo continued to create sculptures throughout his life. One of his most notable late works is the Medici Chapel in Florence, which was commissioned by the Medici family as a place of burial for their members. Michelangelo created two sets of sculptures for the chapel, the night and day statues, which depict reclining figures of men and women representing the allegorical figures of night and day. Michelangelo's involvement in politics also increased in his later years. In 1529, Florence was under siege by the Holy Roman Emperor, and Michelangelo served as a military engineer, helping to strengthen the city's defenses. He also participated in the city's government and was known for his strong support of the Republic and his opposition to the Medici family's attempts to regain power. Throughout his life, Michelangelo remained deeply devoted to his art and continued to work until his death at the age of 88. He is widely considered one of the greatest artists of all time, and his works continue to inspire and influence artists and art lovers around the world. Legacy and influence. Michelangelo's impact on the world of art and culture is immeasurable, and his legacy continues to inspire artists across generations. He is widely recognized as one of the greatest artists of the Renaissance, a period of great artistic and cultural innovation that began in Italy in the 14th century and spread throughout Europe. Michelangelo was known for his innovative use of techniques, such as his approach to sculpting marble and his use of perspective in painting. His works are characterized by their attention to detail, emotional intensity, and profound spirituality, which reflects his deep religious beliefs. One of Michelangelo's most famous works is the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome, which he spent 4 years painting. The frescoes depict scenes from the Book of Genesis and other biblical stories and are considered one of the greatest achievements in the history of Western art. Michelangelo's sculptures are equally impressive, and his statue of David remains one of the most iconic and recognizable pieces of art in the world. The sculpture depicts the biblical hero David in the moment before he slays the giant Goliath and is celebrated for its incredible attention to detail and its expression of human emotion. In his later years, Michelangelo turned his attention to architecture and urban planning, designing the Piazza del Campidoglio in Rome and creating the sculptures for the Medici Chapel in Florence. He also became increasingly involved in politics, serving as a military engineer and participating in the defense of Florence during the siege of 1529–30. Despite his many accomplishments, Michelangelo remained humble and dedicated to his art throughout his life. He once wrote, "I am still learning," reflecting his commitment to the constant pursuit of knowledge and excellence. Today, his works are celebrated around the world and continue to inspire and captivate audiences with their beauty and complexity.